how to teach kids to have an abundance mindset. Today we're going to talk about law of attraction for kids. I'll get into more about what that is and how that works so that we can create an abundance mindset for our kids. And when you watch this video all the way to the end, I'm going to share the number one tip of how you can actually use the power of your words to make sure that you raise an abundance mindset child that will stay abundant for the rest of their lives, and you'll learn the secret too. Hi, I'm Amanda Vandergulik from CleverDougHKids.com, where I help you, parents, teach financial literacy for kids and teenagers. And today we're going to focus on how to build an abundance mindset for your kids so that they'll always have this idea that anything is possible, and they'll know it so firmly that they'll make anything possible for themselves. And we're going to talk about the law of attraction for kids and how that actually works together with an abundance mindset, because they kind of go together. It's really hard to not have them together. It's kind of like having this money and this magnet not be attracted to each other. All right. So the law of attraction is not just this weird voodoo kind of thing. It's actually just a physical law. Our brains, the way that our brains work is that we have this thing called a filtering system, and it's right up here in the front part of our brains. And what it does is it helps us filter out all of the noise around us so that we have the ability to just focus on what we need to get accomplished. And it is there to keep us safe. So for example, if we were running in the forest and there was a lion running after us, we don't want to be distracted by, oh, the woodpecker over there, and oh, look at the squirrel on the ground. No, we want to focus solely on, there is somebody chasing me. My life is in danger. This is the path. I need to run and not run into this tree. I notice the tree, run past the tree. I need to not fall over this boulder. I run around the boulder. We don't see everything else. I mean, we see it, but we're not aware that we see it, because our brain is set up so that we can focus just on what we need to focus on in order to survive. So that's how it came into play. But the really cool thing is that we can actually be in charge of what we focus on, and therefore we can actually create more abundance in our lives by focusing on things that bring more abundance. And that is often known as the law of attraction. And the law of attraction states that what we send out is what we will receive. And I know a lot of people are like, okay, so I'll sit here and go, I want a brand new bike. Boom, it should show up, right? Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You actually have to take some action. But it does work in that if we focus on that brand new red bike, suddenly we will start to notice opportunities that will help us get toward that goal. We might start to notice other people riding bicycles, red ones. Oh, there's a red one. I really like that color. Oh, I like that one over there. They were always there. We just never noticed them. But now that we're focused on it, we notice them. I remember my mom telling me this story where when she was pregnant with me, suddenly she saw pregnant women everywhere. And of course, they were always there. Okay, maybe not those exact women because they would have had their kids, but you get my drift. They were always there. It's just she never noticed them until she was pregnant. Suddenly she was like, oh, you're pregnant too, and oh, you're pregnant too, and oh, you're pregnant too. And that's the same thing. And we often see this, like with the red bicycle. It might be a car that we really like. Suddenly we're driving down the road and oh, they've got one, and oh, you've got one, and they've got one. We notice the things that we focus on. And so we want to take advantage of that and teach our kids to be a master of their mindset, a master of their subconscious mind, by doing things that are going to help our brains focus on the things that we wish to attract, using, again, the law of attraction, but for kids. We want to make it fun. So the idea is this is our mind, and we're focusing it in such a way that we attract abundance. And of course, I've used money symbols here for abundance because generally that's how we see abundance, is that things cost money. So, and I teach financial literacy for kids, so I'm going to use money as an example. Money equals freedom, not in itself. It's simply a tool like a hammer, but without it, life is rather difficult. I know, I've been there. I don't know if you've noticed my video on what it was like to be in a coma. Yeah, I've been there. But money in abundance means the ability, the freedom to live the life that you want and to give of yourself in the way that you want, to be in this world, right? Money takes away stress, or it takes away the stress that is not needed. Obviously, it creates more stress because what do you do with all this money? But that's the kind of stress I don't mind having, and I'm guessing you're kind of feeling the same way, right? When it comes to mindset for our kids, we need to make it fun. When you're looking for a course to teach your kids about money or to teach your kids abundance mindset, you really want to make sure that your child is going to be engaged, that they're going to feel personally connected. You're going to look for courses that have things that are like stories or activities or games, things that are going to make them feel like they're part of it, that they're living it, so that those lessons will last a lifetime. You don't want them to do what they do in school, where they study something for a couple of weeks and then they have a test and then they just forget about it. I know you've been there. I've been there, right? We want the lessons to last a lifetime. If you go back to school in your mind and you think about when you were in school, what do you remember? You probably, I am pretty certain that I could just bet you $100 right now. Oh my goodness, don't take me up on this, but I bet that you probably don't remember exactly every single lesson you ever learned in school. But I bet that you do remember certain instances, things like stories that you heard, or games that you played, or activities that you did. Those are the things that stick with us, okay? So that's what we want to do for our child. So anyway, that was just an aside to help you choose the right course to help you with teaching your child financial literacy so that your child will be financially independent for life and not come crawling back home to you to take care of them financially and always have to be their personal ATM bank machine. I'm going to give you 3 different things that are going to make abundance mindset for kids using law of attraction fun for your child. And the first one is goal setting, which we talked about in this video here. And it's setting up that subconscious mind to really focus on the end result of what your child wants to achieve. So if they've set themselves a goal to maybe save money for a certain game that they really like, or to go on an adventure like Disneyland or something that they really want to do, they're going to focus on that. And so what you're going to do is create a vision board with them. And we talk about how to do a vision board in that goal setting video. So feel free to pause and watch that and then come back, or watch it after, and you can do that activity with your child. But we want to make sure that your child is personally involved with the process of focusing their brain. And by creating a vision board where they get to see themselves and they see the end results that they want, and you have it in a place where they see it all the time, their brain starts to actually assume that this is their new reality. And then when it looks around and it doesn't see this new reality in their existence, then the brain starts to focus on the things that are actually going to attract the opportunities to make those things happen. So if your child wants to save up money for a certain game, maybe suddenly they start noticing opportunities to make some money. Maybe, oh, that neighbor hasn't cut his grass in a while. Maybe I could offer to cut the grass. Or, oh, that neighbor over there, she's a little elderly. I know she's having a tough time. Maybe I could offer to go and get her groceries for her. Whatever the opportunities that come up to help them achieve that goal. The other thing is that your child is also going to see more opportunities about how to actually get the end result. For example, maybe they originally thought they had to buy it new, but now they are suddenly aware of paying attention and, oh, it's on sale over here. Well, I could save some money and I can get it faster if I do it on this thing over here. Or, oh my gosh, this neighbor down here had one and they're upgrading. Maybe I can now just get their old one and pay them a little bit, and then they buy the new one and I get what I want. Our brain suddenly looks for solutions rather than focusing on problems. And before I get into number 3, so number 1 is to set goals and create a vision board so that we can focus our brains on what it is we wish to achieve, and therefore our brains will start finding those opportunities for us. Okay, the second one is super important. Super important. So I want you to really pay attention to this, because this particular tip can absolutely change your child's life for the rest of their life, and their children and their children and their children. Do you have any money blocks? Do you have an internal feeling that maybe you're not worthy of money? Maybe you don't deserve to have money? Have you ever had feelings like that? And maybe you've had this feeling that, well, rich people are kind of bad. Like, rich people are bad, right? You've heard of Ebenezer Scrooge, right? And if not, a quick Google search will help you with that. But that concept of this rich, mean person of scarcity mindset holds on to their money, won't share it, won't help. And there are so many rich people that we see in the media who are awful with their money. They do bad things. So we have this money block that rich people are bad. Have you ever found yourself thinking this? But aren't there good rich people? Aren't there people like Oprah Winfrey and Sir Richard Branson who do these amazing things and have these amazing charities and this positive impact around the world, and yet they're rich? But because they're rich, they're able to share their wealth and create more wealth and create more job opportunities and create more happiness because of their money. Is that not also true? We have these money blocks. What is your money block? Leave me a comment below and tell me, what is the biggest money block that you notice that you have, because you're passing that money block onto your child. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You didn't choose those money blocks. You see, you got those money blocks from your parents. Again, they didn't do it on purpose. They got it from their parents. You got it from your society, your environment, and you got it from your experiences and how you process those experiences. And the only way to change it is to first work on ourselves and start noticing our money blocks and then changing how we see them. So if you hear that thought come in your head, you're watching TV and you see this rich person and you don't like them, you're like, yeah, rich people are horrible. Stop yourself and go, no, that rich person is horrible. But there's Oprah. She's not horrible. She's really good, right? And so you stop that. Or if you catch yourself going, oh, I want that thing, but I don't really deserve it because there are other people in the world who deserve it so much more than me. Well, first of all, scarcity, you're assuming there's only like one or two of these things and you can't have it as well. There's an abundance. There is such an abundance. You know how we have this idea that there are people starving in the world because there's not enough food? No, the sad fact is we have people starving in this world because there actually is enough food, but they don't have it, right? How amazing would it be if you and your child had so much abundance that you could send food over, or even better, help them learn how to create it themselves, right? The teaching fish, the giving fish, the story, right? There is an abundance, and it's our mindset. And again, it's not your fault. It has been put on us, but we can break out of it simply by first noticing the money blocks and then by changing our perspective intentionally, which then brings me to the fact that our words are powerful. Your words are powerful, and how you speak to your child about money will have a huge impact on how they see money. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share some examples with you so that you can start teaching your child to have an abundance mindset using the law of attraction for kids in a really fun way, okay? So imagine this. We're going grocery shopping. And our child is like, oh, mommy, 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 I want this, I want this, I want this. And we're automatically going, no, we can't afford that. Put that back. We can't afford it. Put it back. What does that teach your child? It teaches them, oh, first of all, you're angry. So your child is feeling the heaviness of that anger. They know they've gotten in trouble. No, you can't have that. We can't afford that. No, we can't have it. No. So they first feel bad because you weren't talking to them in a nice way. So they feel bad about themselves. They caused you to talk to them in a not nice way. But then they also subconsciously, they heard, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. And in their brain, they're like, but my friend has it. I see this other person having it. Their brain assimilates that and figures, I guess I don't deserve it. Like other people can have those things, but we can't afford it. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. We don't deserve it. And that's that self-worth. And you're saying to yourself, but what if I really can't afford it? That's not the problem. That's not the problem. It's the words. Your words are magic. Your words are powerful. It's the words. So in that situation, instead of saying, no, put that back. We can't afford that. Change the energy. Change the meaning. And say things like, oh, that is really cool. Wouldn't that be great if we could have that? Here, pop it on the shelf. Let's go home and see if we can come up with ways that you could save money so that you could buy that and you can get that. Now you've empowered your child. You've still said no. They just didn't hear it as no. They heard it as an opportunity. You said no because it wasn't in your budget. Fair enough. And besides, you don't need to be giving your child everything they want, because then they're not going to have pride of ownership for earning it themselves. You're going to end up with an entitled child, which is not something you want and something we talked about in this video here. But what you're going to do is you're going to set them up, set the stage for them to now be excited to come up with ways that they could get that thing. You haven't closed the door on them. You've opened the door. And you go home and you're like, oh, remember that thing that you saw in the store? Do you really want it? And then first of all, they get to decide if they actually really want it or not. Because at some level, they know there's going to be some effort involved, right? And if it's something that they really want, then they're going to be like, yeah, that would be so cool. And if it's something that they're like, that's a lot of effort for, no, that's okay, Mom. No, I'm okay, right? So first of all, you get to sort if it was an important goal for them or not, which is amazing. And then you get them excited if it was something they really want. All right, let's sit down. So what kind of things could we look at that you could make some money? And maybe it's helping out with some extra chores around the house. Now, I'm not talking about regular household chores, and we talked about that in this video here, but I'm talking about extra things that they could do to help you that you would otherwise maybe already pay somebody else for, so that they can save up money and get that thing. Now, when they see things in the store and they go forward, first of all, you're setting a role model example. Your child is so much less likely to be going, Mommy, 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 I want this, which is a huge saver for parents, because it's really frustrating and annoying to have that happen. And it's embarrassing, right? So you're going to cut that, nip it in the bud, which is amazing. May not happen the first time. You might need to do it a couple of times, but trust me, it's worth it. All right. And then the next time your child actually goes in, now they're going to start noticing things differently. They're going to notice and go, oh, that'd be really nice. Oh, but I'd have to do a little bit of work to get that thing. So I won't say anything about that thing. Oh, but that one is really, really cool. Yeah, I want to go home and see if I can figure out ways to earn for that thing. Do you see what I mean? So your child is now becoming more independent at choosing the things they want to go after, because they realize they value money. Like we said in this video, we value money, we value ourselves and our time and our effort. And that's what we want for our child. And another thing is, I want you to learn to speak in a present positive tense when it comes to teaching your child the law of attraction and abundance mindset, because we want to speak as if things already have become. Because then our brains start, again, filtering and looking for ways for that to actually be true for us. So positive words. And I'm going to give you an example that has nothing to do with kids, but it's one that I think you might be able to relate to. I don't know, have you ever heard of somebody wanting to lose weight? Or maybe stop smoking? Let's use these because they're really, really common themes that a lot of people deal with, and they're really great examples. So let's go with the weight loss first of all, for the power of your words. When you're saying something like, I want to lose weight, do you know what your subconscious mind thinks? It thinks, I've lost weight. I better go find it. That is not what we want. We don't want to find more weight, right? But we're focusing on weight, and we're focusing on, and we've lost it, so we got to find it and put more weight on. That's not what we want. So what we want to do is be very careful of the kind of words we use. So when this comes to weight loss, instead of saying, I want to lose weight, or I want to lose 20 pounds, guess what? You're going to find 20 pounds. We change it and we go, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that I now live in a body that is healthy and trim and fit. And it's the perfect, and then whatever number is perfect for you, like 150 pounds or whatever it is. You're focusing on the end result that you want. You're focusing on the feeling, the vitality, the health. When you're vital and healthy, your body naturally throws off the fat. It doesn't need it. It doesn't need to protect you anymore. It doesn't need it. So you focus on the end result rather than on the problem. You focus on the solution, not the problem. Are you getting my theme here? So with the stop smoking, again, I want to stop smoking. I want to quit smoking. Your brain is first of all hearing smoking, smoking, smoking. So it's going to want to have smoking, smoking, smoking. But it's also hearing quit and stop. And it doesn't understand these words. It's like, what does that mean? Well, like, I don't get it. We need to show it the end result we want. I am so happy now that I always breathe in clear, clean, healthy air. People love being around me. I smell so good. They always give me such big hugs because it It makes them feel so good being around me. My lungs are so healthy and strong. You just focus on the end result. And so when it comes to mindset, abundance for kids and law of attraction for kids, your words are very important, that you find solutions, that you focus on the end result. And you use the example like I showed you in the shopping mall, where you don't say, no, we can't afford that. You say, hey, that's a really cool idea. Let's go home and see if we can figure out a way that you could earn the money to get that. So are you understanding that? If you are getting this, give me a like. And if you have some really fun ideas, leave them in the comments below, and I will go through and I will check and I'll chat with you, and we'll see if we can come up with some really fun ways for you. Okay, here comes the third one. Are you ready for this? It is not going to be what you expect it to be. All right. Abundance mindset for kids, right? Law of attraction for kids. Taxes. What? Charity. Huh? Yeah. We're going to use taxes and charity to create an abundance mindset for our kids, which then uses the law of attraction to help them create the world that they want. I know, odd, right? Now the thing is, most of us always had this idea of, oh, I don't want to pay taxes. I want to avoid taxes. If we change our mindset around taxes and use the power of giving to charity, we actually reprogram our subconscious mind to see these as positive things. Now, I'm not saying go and pay the most taxes that you possibly can. Trust me, you still want to save money and pay the least amount of tax possible that you actually need to pay. So, don't avoid tax, just make sure you're still paying it, but talk to an accountant, get the best deal, right? But the point is, instead of having this mindset of, oh, I have to pay taxes, what if our kids are like, what an honor that I live in a country where we pool our resources, we pay taxes so that we can have health care, so we can have schooling, so we can have amazing roads to ride on, even if the roads are not that amazing. We can have roads, right? That we pool our resources in this form called taxes. And together we are, as a community, creating more things like garbage removal, recycling, all those things that are taken care of for us through our taxes. See, a lot of the time, I think what happens is we separate ourselves from our governments, right? We feel like the government, us, rawr, right? But the thing is, the government is us. We are the government. We choose who is in power. We entrust them to take good care of us. And we give them taxes so that they can build the things that we need to build. So it's changing our perspective. Again, I'm not saying pay a ton of taxes. I'm saying pay what you legally have to and get a good accountant to help you pay the minimum amount. But change your mindset around it and start talking to your kids about taxes as if it's an honor. Every bill that comes in, whether it's taxes or even just living costs, see it as an honor. Like, I am so happy and grateful now that I have the money to pay for the things that help provide for our lives, right? We change our mind around it. And the same with charity. Charity is an honor to give and to help. And charity is not just helping foundations, but I also see charity and giving as part of just giving to our friends and family, even for celebrations like birthdays and special occasions and anniversaries and whatever the situation is. It's about having that abundance mindset, that there is always enough, that there is plenty to go around, and that it is such an honor that they get to have it from me, right? That you get to give it, that your child gets to give it. So changing the way that we see these things. Again, we are solution finding. We are not problem focused. And so that is the third thing, is to help your child to understand. And I understand that sometimes it's really hard to explain taxes and governments and things like that to our children, and charity and all of that. And that's why I put together my Clever Dough Kids Academy, and I use stories and games and cartoons and all these fun things to help them understand what these things are and to change their mindset around it, so that when they leave your protective nest, then they feel happy and part of the community, and they make a difference in our world. And it's, you raise a child, or you raise an adult. Again, we spoke about that in earlier videos. You're raising an adult who takes control of their life, and makes a positive impact on our society. I hope you found this really helpful. If you did, please give it a like. It helps the algorithm to share this video to more families. I am on a mission to empower 1,000 families around the globe with solid, good financial literacy for kids, and I really appreciate you helping me with that. If you know a person, a family member, a friend who could really use value in this video today, please share this video with them. I appreciate that so much. And in the comments below, tell me, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to creating that abundance mindset for kids, right? Using the law of attraction for kids. Write it in the comments below. I read each of these comments, I reply to them, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you and see how I might be able to help you with that. And after this, now it's time. So now that we've actually gone through the whole series, and again, you can check out the playlist here to make sure that you've seen all of the videos in the series so far, is to see how to master their money. Okay, so we started with getting them excited about money, and then we talked about whether or not to give an allowance, how to make their own money, and all these things, how to value their money. We've gone through all of that, and now that we've covered mindset, it is time to start learning the actual tools, how to make money work hard for your child. And yes, you can use them too. How to create something one time and get paid for it over and over and over again. And I'm so excited to share this with you. So I will see you in this video over here, and we'll start discussing that.